it's Josie and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to talk a bit about my journey of becoming more plant-based in my diet. So I think I'll divide this video into 4 sections. The first one being all the facts. So what I eat, what I don't eat, what's the differences between being plant-based and being more vegetarian or vegan. And the second section is how I kind of became what I am today and what are the other reasons people might possibly consider to cut out more meat in their diet. And thirdly, I'll talk a bit about my experiences so far in terms of the social impacts, health impacts and financial experiences of being more plant-based in my diet. And fourthly, I'll share a few tips with anyone who's looking to become more plant-based or just simply interested in the topic, because everyone is talking about it. I'm so happy, it's such a time to be alive. So a quick FYI between vegetarian and vegan is that vegetarians just don't eat meat, but they eat everything else animal related. So milk, yogurt, everything dairy, cheese, also eggs, and animal based products. So if you think about things like oyster sauce or kimchi or I don't know, lots of things actually have animal products in them. I didn't know that. I think most vegetarians aren't so fussy. Personally, I eat what I like, so it's not really based on a label. So for example, I don't like gelatin, so I don't eat things like jelly or gummies, that kind of thing. But I do eat oyster sauce and kimchi, as I specified just then. I normally go around saying I'm vegetarian because that's the most easy to understand for most people. But I do eat fish and prawns, so that's not vegetarian, that's pescatarian. And I don't eat dairy, so that's dairy free. So pescatarian and dairy free. Together, I go around claiming I'm vegetarian because lots of people have these confusions about all these diets, and I don't want people to think it's a really big deal. It's not a big deal, it's just what I choose to eat and not eat. I think it was in the beginning of 2017 when I decided that I didn't like meat anymore. I began cooking for myself and then I didn't really like touching raw meat. I'm not sure if it's just me, or leave a comment down below if you don't like touching raw meat either. But that's how I kind of started not to cook meat for myself, and then it developed into I don't like eating meat even though I might be eating out or someone else cooking it for me. That kind of progression. And then, but I always ate eggs and seafood and all sorts of veggies and fruit. It's more like one of those things where the more you do something, the more inclined you are to find out more about it. So that's kind of what happened with me about being more aware of its environmental impacts and the health benefits it brings you. For example, I don't want to go into details about how red meat is related to coronary heart disease and things like that, or in what ways beef and grazing are related to greenhouse gas emissions and things like that, because this will turn into a lecture and we have enough of those. So after learning more about the health and environmental benefits, I found it more justified and I became more confident in telling other people about my dietary choices. I know some people out there are ethical vegans. I'm afraid that wasn't what drove me in the beginning to become more plant-based in my diet, but then I do feel the bond with animals a lot more this way. I don't know, it might be a misconception, it might be me telling my brain that by not eating them we're closer, but don't take my word for that. I think everyone perceives these kinds of things really differently. So if someone is an ethical vegan, I have so much respect for them, but that's not how I identify myself. Speaking of the experience of becoming more plant-based, my diet has had lots of different impacts on my experience in my life in the past 3-4 years. So I think I'll start off by talking about the social impacts I felt. In the beginning, people were telling me, oh yeah, if you're vegan or something, you eat out with people, and it's such a fuss because it makes making decisions so much harder. And I didn't quite understand. I thought, yeah, we just go to a place, you order your food, I order my food, I can eat whatever I want, you eat whatever you want. How is that a problem? But then I understood it more when we were eating out in larger groups. If I go and eat with a group of like 10-12 people, they'll be, oh, do you want to choose a place what do you want to eat? Is this place okay for you? Kind of. And I was made to felt like it's all because of my dietary choices that we're confined to eating at particular places, or everyone listens to what I have to choose because I'm picky. If you have a vegetarian or vegan friend, don't be like that. I think the better way to handle it is to maybe give them a few options, like 3 or 5, and say, oh, do you want to look at these places beforehand and see whether there's one that you feel more inclined to? I think health-wise, lots of people have the misconception that if you're going to become vegetarian or vegan, you'll lose weight. No, that, at least it didn't happen for me. I think my weight and my body shape in general in the past few years have been quite stable, so I wouldn't say my dietary choices have made a significant impact on that. But I could say that my metabolism has become faster, so I get full easily and I become hungry easily, so I have more smaller meals in a day, if that makes sense. And some people say that by not having dairy it has positive impacts on your skin. I don't know. I have breakouts every now and then and it's been pretty stable. Or, I mean, there hasn't been very big changes for my skin for the past, as long as I can remember. So, I don't know, maybe these things depend a lot person by person, so I can't really speak for other people, but if you ask me, that's my answer. No, there has not been any major changes in my health. I think thirdly, lots of people wonder whether becoming more plant-based in your diet is more expensive or cheaper. I'd say cheaper because, especially if you cook by yourself, I think vegetables are a lot cheaper than meat per like meal portion, if you calculate it that way. Maybe eating out makes it cheaper too. If you, for example, if you go to a restaurant and order something that has like various options, for example, if you have a pad thai, you can have it with chicken, with beef, or with tofu, for example. And the tofu is always the cheapest one. So I don't see why eating more plant-based is going to be more expensive, unless you opt for like really expensive things. I think some processed fake meats are quite expensive, but I'm not the biggest fan because I don't like the texture. But yeah, overall I'd say it saves you money too, so that's another plus. And fourthly, it's the last section of this video. For anyone who's looking to eat less meat or simply interested, I'd say I have several tips. The first one is to take baby steps, as in you don't have to suddenly become vegan overnight because that's not possible. Whether that be eating less meat or having less dairy products, using milk alternatives, things like that. And in doing that, something that's really helpful for lots of people I know was meatless Mondays. So one day a week you eat no meat, or if that's too much you can start by 1 meal per week and slowly increase it if you feel like it. That's like a way of starting out. And secondly, I'd say not to stick any labels to yourself, as in you don't have to decide what kind of plant-based person you want to be, because everyone is different and there's no need to adhere to a particular type of vegetarianism, because you can just eat whatever you like. And before you do any good to the planet or animals or anything else, it should be about you. So whether that be for your physical health or for your mental health, you should do whatever you think is right for yourself. So doing good for yourself and then doing good for others, whether that be animals or planets. And thirdly, which is my final tip for anyone looking to start out to do anything, pretty much, is to get a friend. If you have a friend to do it with you together, you can keep each other in check and share your tips, share recipes, share your experiences, eat together, cook together. You know, it makes everything easier, more fun, and just easier to keep on track. So this is all I have to share with you today from myself. I know there are lots of sources of inspiration out there, and I think I'll link a few YouTube channels and Instagram influencers down below that have really helped me deciding how I feel about my diet and my relationship with food overall. So I hope I helped, and I hope those links will help you too. So let's hope we all discover what we like to eat and do good on top of that. I'll see you in my next video. Bye bye!